BIS 302. Module 3 starts tomorrow, at least from where I'm sitting, and I apologize, it's casual day. Okay, so really, I'll dress better next time. I really apologize. I just moved locations this morning for a week, so I'm just not unpacked yet. Okay, so let's get right into it. Module 3. Well, first I want to talk about some of the Module 2 stuff and where we've gotten so far. Um, the worksheet 2, yes, you might see that I've scored kind of harshly. Yes and no. I mean, the top half of that part 1 is specific questions. If you get both right, you don't didn't get one wrong, you get -1, both wrong. -2, if you didn't do it correctly, then then that might be a problem. Get with me if you want to discuss anything about it, okay? Um, but the bottom half, was kind of a reiteration of what you worked on in module 1, worksheet 1, and what you talked to me about in terms of the research question. I think I was really specific on the bottom worksheet 1 in terms of how the question was going to be written. Again, I let you brainstorm and kind of put it together, but then I kind of, said we're going to do it this way because we have particular parameters this class that we have to adhere to, and obstacles in this class that we have to recognize. Okay, so uh, there was an overemphasis, I think people still have, which is only natural, an overemphasis on a couple of things. Number one, on data collection. Some of you are proposing great ideas, but if I really push you to think of it and articulate how you're going to get the data you claim you're going to get, I think that's where you're going to run into a brick wall, because this is not an exercise. I even use the words, I think, not an exercise of the imagination anymore. It's exercise in an actual project you have to do, okay, if you intend to pass the class. So whereas we can all think of in an idealistic manner how we might want to see certain research performed, when you think about it, if you really said, can you do this in the amount of time allotted, I think you're gonna agree with me when I say you can't. It's just, I hate to be the person to do that, but we have a little bit of time, and I understand you don't have context to how much time is involved with data collection and how much time is not involved with data collection in this course, okay? Um, Another thing was just, again, it's nobody's fault, okay? We have a tendency to be ambitious in what we set our sights on, and I don't want you to change that, okay? But in the case of research, there's a element of realism that needs to be adhered to, okay? So you don't want to use hyperbole. You don't want to overpromise. All right? Your study is not going to solve X, the problem of X. It's just not, okay? There's no shame in that. No researcher is going to claim that, okay? Even at the highest levels. They might say it might clarify a picture, a certain theory. It might assist in developing whatever it is, cures, whatever it is, better theories, better concepts, but no one is going to really go and promise the world, so to speak. Okay, so take it easy on that. Okay, you can't, I mean, I've made it clear many times, it's not the best saying, but nobody's going to cure cancer in this class as much as we'd love to. Okay, um, that's for another day. All right, we still want to get through, but I know everybody wants to get a good grade, and you're pushing towards that. But just look at the idea is not going to get you the grade. The actual performing the research is going to get you the good grade. Okay, so I'm trying to help by not letting things get out of hand. Okay, before it's too late. All right, so just remember all that. All right, I forgot to make up some Easter eggs. Oh God. Okay, I forgot that part, didn't I? All right, Easter egg number 1. Without too much thought. Oh boy, let's just go with summer. Okay, it's summer here, summer everywhere in the northern hemisphere, I guess. Let's go with summer. Keep it simple. All right. So, looking at the learning objectives for Module 3, number 1, learn how to write a literature review. That's a big one. Okay. Number 2, utilize the library online to for a research topic. That's written wrong, okay? But utilize the library online to research a topic, all right? It's just flipped around. Okay, number 3, to see and investigate what has already been written on chosen topics. can be an overwhelming task, but one I think you need to introduce yourself to. Number 4, to learn the differences between qualitative and quantitative lit reviews. Okay, so the reading is chapter 3 in the text. It's approximately 24 pages, straight on the lit review. Um, there's also in the learning materials, you'll find sample student lit reviews, okay? Posted with permission from my students previously that have written reviews of literature, lit reviews. I'd like you to take a look at it. I'd like you to contemplate how it's written, how it's being written. None of them are perfect again, but these are really good, I think. All right. So you look at that. The lit review presentation is approximately 8 minutes long. That's the Adobe presentation. The one I'm telling you, it's going to have sound. If you don't get sound on it, take that link off the top and put it in a new browser window. Almost always works. I think we have one case so far where someone said it didn't work, but I never heard back, so I think they got it. Okay. Now that's, let's see. Let me just jump ahead, talk about there's another link in there for BIS 401 experience. Now it's called IDS 401, so the link will take you to what's called IDS 401. As many of you know, of course, we're switching our prefix to IDS from BIS, and 401 is still a requirement, and you can take a look at some of the options there. Pay close attention to the deadlines, which are up for the fall session. Some of those are approaching. I think there's only like 2 deadlines in there that still have yet to come. So start thinking about that and ask me the questions you want. I will say this, I do get a lot of students. I'm humbled that they would ask me to mentor them in their 401 if they're doing a paper or something. I rarely take any on. I usually take like 1 a semester, but it has to be a good fit. That's what we're looking for. And my academic specialty is interdisciplinary studies, so that's not really going to fit almost anybody's. And my other academic expertise, again, is African American studies and human rights. Again, it's pretty narrow, and I would refer you back to a department that's closer resonates with your focus, and to work with someone, look at the bios, see who matches your focus. Okay. If you have any questions, let me know on that. Mr. Nicholas Maddox. Nick Maddox is our guy at Tempe that does a lot of work. Great guy. Work with him a lot. He might be a guy to reach out to at some point. Okay, so let's do Easter egg number 2. When I adjust this so I know what I did. And again, a lot of you have been setting up calls. That's been pretty cool. I'm glad you did that. FaceTime actually works well. I hadn't done a lot of FaceTimes in the past. I mean, not with students, but I think it really replaces the in office meetings very well, which I have when I teach on campus in the springs. And so anytime you want to do that, I'm game. Okay. Let's go with Easter egg number 2. Oh my gosh. Let's just call this one primary sources. Get that? Primary sources, because we're going to talk a little bit about that when it comes to lit review. Okay. So the first thing I'll say is primary sources. You're going to be, what the lit review intends to accomplish is, again, looking at the big picture, you're proposing to do some research. Okay. So what the peer group, the funding people, the instructor, what we want to see is that you've done your homework on what came before you, what's being said about certain topic that you've chosen. Okay. What it is that came before you in terms of research, and how it resonates with the current study. You will look for primary sources, those that were peer reviewed. They could be other research, it could be texts, it could be dissertations, be from journals typically. I'd like you to definitely stay away from anything that has blog in the URL. .coms means commercial. Okay, so really be careful with that unless you're working through to get to a journal. Use the ASU library online. My recommendation is to filter for peer reviewed and filter for full text online, and then you'll be able to get everything you need without having to go somewhere, right? And going through the ASU library is better than straight Google, because you're not going to hit the paywalls to get at some of the journal's material, okay? Um, it's going to be a minimum of 4 sources, and I say 2 have to be primary. I still think that's fairly weak, to be honest with you. Do not expect anything beyond competent for getting the minimum amount of sources. If you need sources, the more the merrier. Take a look at what some of the other students did in the examples, how many sources they used. Okay. And what you're trying to do here is look at what came before you and identify how that maybe resonates with the current study. Okay. It's not just that in 2014, Smith and Wesson found that gun sales would go up. I'm just making this stuff up. But um, tell us, how that might reflect in what you're going to do. Okay. For example, writing about in the current study endeavors to the current study may show that this holds true in a group of random adults. We'll find out, right? You want to you look at the rubric, okay? The max is 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 150 points. 30 points for your introduction to your topic. You want to intro your topic. Remember, you intro your topic. You're not introducing the research itself. You're not introducing the methodology. You're just talking about that topic, okay? You can think of the lit review as a single standalone paper, but it is chapter 3 of your final paper. And so you're introducing your topic in a way that you're leading into the previous material, okay? So you're not talking about your survey or anything else, okay? 30 points is max. 30 points for the review and synthesis of literature. This is the meat of the whole thing. And so we're going to see how you review it, how you synthesize it. That's a big word for me. Okay, number 3 is justification for your study, the current study. Means you're trying to justify you doing this and that your study will help to add to the body of knowledge in the field, right? Number 4 is the sources, minimum 4 sources, okay? Yes, you get competent if you give me a minimum of 4. If they're 2 primary, 2 secondary, and by secondary, I mean, yes, you're going to use something like Forbes or, Cron.com or something, and I'm not a fan. I know there's a place for these things, and frankly, if you had 8 primary sources and threw a couple of secondary sources in there, I'm good with that too, okay? All right. And then last criteria is correctly cited in APA. I have a link in there for Purdue OWL. I think it's a good link for APA. All right. I'm going to talk a little about how to write this now in scholarly style. Number 1, you don't get to appear in this paper. I've talked about it, but I really want to start emphasizing it now that the rubber's meeting the road and we're going out and actually doing some writing now. You don't get to appear, okay, in any part of this paper. There is no I wanted me, there's no my study, there's no I want to, there's no I saw that, I feel like, I believe, there's no me, there's no I, okay? You get to appear as a third person, meaning that instead of me or I, it becomes the current researcher. You are now the current researcher, the researcher of the current study. The study doesn't become your study. It becomes the current study, the current research. Okay. I think that's an important thing. And I really like seeing when students get that, because I think it really ups your game in terms of your scholarly academic writing. You're going to see the difference. I mean, if I text John here, it's not going to be academic writing, right? If I type in email, it's not going to be academic writing. These are all different ways, right? For this, it's academic writing, scholarly writing. I think it's a nice challenge and a good way to expand your talents in the your writer's toolkit, as Stephen King would call it. Okay, so APA formatting, what's that all about? I'll tell you what I'm looking for. Okay, don't worry about a cover page. Don't need one for a lit review. Don't need a cover page. Did you get that? Don't need a cover page. Okay, all right. Just give me a lit review and put your name on it, and let's roll. Commodify it later. All right. Times New Roman, 12-point font all the way through. Be very careful about cutting and pasting. Sometimes the font grays out. Sometimes it puts a little highlight behind it. Sometimes it changes the font. Don't do it. You might be better off safely to just type what you're seeing and put it in there instead of copy and paste. Okay, tip, right? Okay, no highlighting, no yellow, nothing but black ink, nothing but black font. Okay, Times New Roman 12, black. Okay. All right. Um, no gaps between paragraphs and things. Double line spacing all the way through. Okay, this is one piece. There's no sections involved. You don't need to intro the say intro. I can get that part. Okay, it's typically like a paragraph before you get into it. All right, indent your paragraphs. Just tab it in there once. Okay, I'm dinging you if the paragraphs aren't indented. Okay, don't put gaps between paragraphs. You indent paragraphs. Okay, you got that? Good. Um, let's see. Times Roman 12 point font. Okay, watch your citations. Your in-text citations should be done by APA. That means the end of the quote or at the end of the passage that you want to cite, before the punctuation, parenthesis, open parentheses. Okay, say the author's name is Smith, comma, right? 2006. Okay, close quotation. Be careful how you say do it. Don't smash it in together. Put pages in there if you have pages, of course. All right. See how it's done. You'll see it. Okay. It's hard for me just to explain it because it's so much better just to see it and just copy how people are citing in APA. That's all you got to do. Long quotations. That means anything over 40 words or more. Those, I tell you to avoid them because I don't like how long they are. It just makes you think your paper's longer. You're just using a whole chunk of somebody else's work, and it's going to show up in the Turnitin software. So I got to look at it to make sure that it's plagiarized and it's cited correctly. But if it is, you got to push that in blocks, and it's cited differently. Remember, in-text citations come before the punctuation, the period or whatever. It doesn't come after. It's not. It doesn't. Citations don't start the next sentence. Okay. They don't stand alone in their own sentence. They end the sentence before the period. They do not appear in the quotation marks. They appear outside the quotation marks before the punctuation. I know you can get it. I really do. It's just not as tough as you think once you get through it, okay? And if you go to the Purdue OWL link, which I want to do real quick, it's under the page with the lit review, I think where you submit it. You got the rubric there. You got a link to the library. You can use that if you want, or just go in. The link to Purdue OWL. Now, if you want to follow me here, I am going to show you. Let's see if I can show you this if it works. All right, I cannot read this because it's backwards in a mirror, but you can see APA style. All right, now you see there's these different menu items. I'm going to turn this around and talk to you about these. You don't have to look at every single one, but you look at the ones that are pertinent. For example, you look at in-text citations, the basics, the general format you look at. Do not worry about an abstract. In fact, don't do an abstract. No cover page, no table of contents, no abstract. Don't overdo it. Don't kill yourself in that. Later, need it. No abstract in this entire class, though. No abstract. I should make that my Easter egg, but I didn't. Okay. So you want to do in-text citations, the basics. You want to look at in-text citation for author or authors. Don't worry about footnotes and endnotes. Do not worry about those things. Am I clear? Do not do endnotes and footnotes. Okay. Reference list, basic rules. Check it out. Your reference list at the end needs to be in hanging paragraph. If you don't know how to do that, Google it. Don't guess. It's not center justified. It's hanging paragraphs. Needs to be alphabetized. Needs to be double line spaced with no extra spaces between the entries. That's what the double line, that's the hanging paragraphs for, okay? So you can look at some of the other stuff if you'd like to, but I'm not micromanaging, reference articles and periodicals, books, print sources, electronic sources, non-print stuff. Don't worry about all that stuff. Don't worry about all that stuff. Don't think, just look at the basics, look at authors, look at the reference list, basic rules, authors, and you pretty much got it. Okay. If you have any questions, let me know. I can tell when someone's trying to cite correctly, and I take technical consideration. I can also tell when someone is not even trying. Okay. So we can talk about that as we get it. I am not pre-grading. Remember that. Don't send it to me in a link, in a attachment and say, "Can I look at that?" I ain't gonna look at it. Okay, I ain't gonna look at it. But and that's because it's not fair to everybody, right? But don't worry about the cover page. Don't title page. No abstract. Don't worry about that stuff. Okay. So there you go on that. All right. There's not a lot in this module in terms of a list of things to do, but there is enough. There's a worksheet 3. I'm so sorry. How did I miss that? Worksheet 3 is do that earlier. Do everything in chronological order. That's why the due dates are set the way they are. So you know which one I want you to do first, second, third, fourth. If you don't follow due dates, hey, let me know. But that's how I want you to do the work. So we're talking about worksheet 3. You're going to look at um, different lit reviews. It's the same research project, 3 different lit reviews for it. Tell me which one's the best and why, and something about the differences between them. Okay. I cannot believe I went almost 21 minutes here. I apologize. I wanted to talk to you a lot about the citation formatting, though. Okay, get it right the first time, or in this, and you'll be fine for your proposal and final paper. Okay, so let's do Easter egg number 3, and I'm just going to say APA format because I want that you remember that APA format and to use that as your guide to writing academic paper. I admit I love curve appeal. Okay, so if I drive up to your paper, say, hey, that's a nice looking paper there. Wow, makes it a lot easier to read. Look at the paragraph indents, no big gaps. That really helps me read it. Okay, it helps any reviewer. That's why there's a process to this. That's why there's a way to do it, right? Okay, so anything else? That's it. Sorry, 21:20. All right, forks up. Talk to you soon. Have a good day.